Did your parents do anything to influence your life?
Values. And it started with something that's not so much thought about anymore. Mores, term you're familiar with. Okay, a more is a unwritten social observance, not a law. But some of the mores became codified into laws, but many of them didn't. You might have, studying history, heard of blue laws. Okay, those are mores. In my hometown, you did not begin sports events on Sunday until 1 p.m. Ever. It wasn't a law. It wasn't anywhere. It was. That's all. So they began with mores. Like moms teach their kids now. Don't put that in your mouth. Say excuse me. Say please. Say thank you. Somewhere you may have encountered, it was a little tiny book called All I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Familiar? Okay. Those were the things that my parents taught me. A concept not very popular now. Shame. There are some people who are worried about shaming. Well, if you did something illegal or stupid or unthoughtful, shame is a good thing. It's a good learning device. But there are some others who think differently. No one should ever know shame. Well, we'll have to be destined to disagree about that. Because I think it is useful. This doesn't mean that we should be like the Amish and set somebody out and refuse to speak to them for the rest of their lives or anything. But if you don't measure up to par, you know the lady. If you don't measure up to par, you should be called to account for it. Like, might be a wife or a girlfriend who said, you behaved poorly. Also, then, in my youth, Iowa was a dry state. There were liquor stores. If you wanted to purchase liquor, you had to have a liquor book. Every purchase you made was in this little pocket-sized book. And if you got drunk and they took you before the magistrate, he took your liquor book. And guess what? You couldn't buy any more liquor. So Iowa was a pretty conservative place, but I grew up in the conservative place, and I knew my father to have 2 beers in his lifetime. I knew my mother to have 1. So I did not come from a drinking family for traditions, and just generally, I don't drink myself. And so again, these are things that I learned at my mother's knee. In terms, I also learned, observing others, that beer makes you smart. And you end up doing things you would never do sober or do by yourself. You would do it trying to impress people that you chose to impress at the time. So, yeah, A, I was happy, and B, I learned life's lessons before just generally I had to practice them.